I failed every job interview I attended, and I'm gonna tell you why, so that you don't make the mistake that I made, or at least have a fun time listening to it. So during my final year of undergrad degree, I tried to get a job like everybody else, and I applied to many companies because I needed the money. FYI, I am from mechanical engineering background. I'm gonna quickly explain the interview process, so listen up. Most companies have 3 levels of interview process. Round 1 is usually the aptitude round. This round tests your maths and reasoning skills, and it sometimes has technical questions too, depending on company to company. Round 2 is group discussion round, where the test taker brings in 10 people and then gives them a topic to discuss in a group, and I guess the candidates who can talk better are selected for the next round. Let me give you some examples for the group discussion topics. Did Eren Yeager do the right thing at the end of Attack on Titan? I'm just kidding. They always have boring topics, like how the rise of electric vehicles affects petrol vehicles. What are the pros and cons of using AI in the workspace? The third round is the interview round. This is further divided into a technical round and a HR round. Technical round means they ask technical questions based on your branch, but in HR round they get personal. Honestly, HR round is the most annoying round in the entire interview process. Let me give you an example. Tell me about yourself. I mean, you have my resume, right? Yes. Then why the fuck are you wasting both of our time with that question? What are your strengths and weaknesses? My strengths are well, that I'm a gamer, and my weakness is I work too hard, man. That isn't a weakness. Then what did you expect? I'll tell you my true weakness and then you'll fire me. When will you dumb fuckers realize that people just memorize a script and come tell their weakness to you? It's mostly strength disguised as weakness. Why do you want to work in this company? Because I need the money. Because I'm broke and unemployed. Why did you choose mechanical engineering? I love mechanical engineering. Thermodynamics is my favorite subject. Honestly though, that's the only branch I could afford after my horrible entrance exam results. And I was never really into coding, mate. And finally, the infamous question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. What do you mean I don't know? I don't know what I'm gonna eat tonight after this interview, man, and you expect me to know things what I'll do like after 5 years. Man, I sure hope I don't end up as an unemployed YouTuber at home, because that would be ironic, wouldn't it? Anyway, all that was hypothetical. Let me share you my real interview experience. Let's call the first company as the AI company. This was the first job interview ever in my life. I cleared round 1 and entered the technical interview. This is how the technical interview went. We introduced ourselves first. What are limits? Limits are what are fits? Fits are that thing that what are the different types of clearances? Clearances are well, this is awkward. By this point, I was shivering and I was sad. The interviewer told me to leave, and then I came out and learned that these were very basic questions from mechanical engineering design. I had learned other things from manufacturing and thermodynamics, but I had forgotten about mechanical engineering design. For example, if this was a gamer interview, I'll give an example. The questions were like, which button do you press to aim? Which button do you press to shoot? Which button do you press to jump? Like, it was that level of basic questions in mechanical design. Obviously, I flopped the interview and then I didn't get this job. The lesson is, do your research on the company first. Get data on what kind of company it is and come prepared. Don't go blindly like me. The second company, let's call it bye-bye company. For this company, I tried my very best. Put my heart and soul. And failed at round 1. I couldn't clear round 1 and it sucked extra because this was a reputed company and my friend got selected in this company and he works in the same company to this day. The lesson here is, please take the aptitude test seriously, prepare your maths and reasoning properly, otherwise even if you're good at technical stuff, you'll get rejected in round 1 and you'll be filled with regret. The third company, let's call it Sharingan. This rejection hit me the hardest, guys, not gonna lie. So round 1 was group discussion for this company. A total of 110 people from across colleges came for this interview. I was hella nervous seeing the competition. 10 people at a time were called in for group discussion. My turn finally came and I remember acing this round and talking for 10 minutes straight until they told me to stop. Out of the 110 people, I was one among the 20 others who got selected in this round. Round 2 was HR round. 2 HRs interviewed me. It was okay-ish, but I got selected for the next round. I was hoping this would be the final round, but there was a round 3. This time it was a pair of young Japanese HRs from Japan on a Zoom call. They asked me a couple of questions, but I was prepared, guys. I had practiced all possible questions they could have asked me. All my previous failures had made me strong. I was like, this is it. This is the company I'm gonna join. So the interview went very smoothly and the interviewers were actually very kind and polite. I reached round 4. The interview was conducted by another young Japanese HR. It was a fun interview. I didn't even feel the normal pressure that I used to have in other interviews. I cleared this round too. By this point, there were like 6 other people remaining. I was on cloud 9, and me and my friends were sure that I'm gonna get selected in this company. The final round was in a different city. I traveled there and attended the interview in the same company's Indian branch. I met the other interview candidates and we became friends. We all were given a tour of the office building. It was so neat and awesome. It had big machines on display. It had a coffee machine which we didn't know how to operate at that time. I could honestly imagine myself working in that cool office. My friend told me, bro, we have cleared 4 rounds. This round must just be a formality. Mind you, it had already been 3 months since round 1 started. And now we were finally here for the final round. On the top floor of this luxurious looking ass building, all our hopes and dreams are tied to this last round. I went in for the final round. Round 5 begins. There was a big projector screen in which 3 old Japanese dudes were shown. It was a Zoom call for the global Japanese HR. In front of me, there was a big table in which all the people who interviewed me before were sitting down. I was told to sit down beside the Japanese guy who took the fun interview round before. This was it, my final interview to get into this cool Japanese company, which also promised that they will take us to Japan for a week for training. Man, a lot was riding on this interview. The old Japanese people started asking questions, but there was a problem. Their English had such strong Japanese accent that I couldn't understand them. The young Japanese people didn't have this problem, but the old Japanese HRs had this problem. Luckily, the guy sitting beside me helped me understand what was going on. I remember him mentioning this to me once before the interview, that he wished for us all to join the company, but in Japan, the senior officials decide everything. Young people are not given as much power as the senior officials are given. But now there was another problem. I didn't have a mic. The mic was attached to the center of the desk. It was kinda inside the desk, so I had to scream on top of my lungs in front of so many people so that my voice could reach the people who were taking my interview. It was so awkward. I was so nervous, but I kept answering all the questions. But the final failure, the final straw that destroyed my interview came. They asked me to go in detail and talk about intellectual property rights. I was stunned. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect this question. I tried to answer with all the info that I had with me at that time. I talked about trademark, copyright, etc. But I stuttered, stammered, and I couldn't talk more about this topic. And the interview was over. I came out of the interview hall and then I realized that I had put IPR in my resume that I had submitted to the interview. Intellectual property rights was a compulsory course I had to do with my engineering. It wasn't a part of mechanical engineering, it was just something that we had to do. So I didn't know much about it. I should have never put IPR in my resume, or else my interview would have gone flawlessly and I would have gotten the job by now. I spent the next 2 weeks anxious about the result and overthinking my interview again and again. The final list of candidates came and I was not in the list. I had been rejected. 3 months of attending interviews, building hopes and dreams, working hard was all down the drain now. After seeing the result, I spent the whole evening crying in my room. My dad comes to the room and goes, "Boy, men don't cry. Now come for dinner. Your mom is calling you." What? So much for opening up to your brown Indian parents. No wonder men are desperate for relationship, because only a romantic partner can be there for you, give you hugs and comfort during bad times, instead of telling you not to cry. Anyway, the lesson here is, don't put useless shit in your resume. You might fuck up a once in a lifetime job opportunity because of something that isn't even relevant to your field of study. As for what happened to me later, I tried for few more jobs, but I lost all interest in applying for more jobs. So I sat home for a year, cracked another entrance exam and joined master's program. After a year of hard work, I got admission in a very good college and I dropped out. Yeah, your favorite YouTuber dropped out of college. And if you wanna know more about it, check out my old video. I have mentioned why there. Well, that brings us to the present, me trying to be a YouTuber. I was never really into engineering. I just did it for the money and the job. It all felt very mechanical and lifeless. Get it? Because mechanical was my branch.